Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit from David B 1976 and says, my girlfriend, 25 female, admitted she slept with someone hours before agreeing to be exclusive. I, 26 male, can't tell if I'm overreacting. What's the move here? My girlfriend of 2 years and I were recently having one of those drunk tell me something shocking conversations. Everything was lighthearted until she dropped something that completely rewrote the origin story of how we became a couple. Something I've always held as a romantic and somewhat dramatic beginning. A little over a month into dating, I told her I wanted to be exclusive. Up to that point, everything between us, her behavior, our connection, the way she talked about us, made me feel like she was on the same page. But during that conversation, she suddenly got overwhelmed, said she needed to leave and basically walked out. I was confused and pretty upset. I went home thinking maybe that was it. A few hours later, she called, said she wanted to talk, and drove to my place. That night outside my apartment in the rain, she told me she did want to be in a committed relationship and that she had just needed time to meditate and collect her thoughts. I took it as a cinematic beginning to our relationship. That entire story changed during our recent drunk conversation. She told me that she didn't go home to reflect. She left to go have sex with a dude. Apparently she met this guy at a party the week we first started going out. They hooked up and the sex was apparently good enough that she had been hitting him up every few days after. My girlfriend is usually pretty blunt, but this one hurt to hear, especially in context. According to her, when I brought up exclusivity, she suddenly realized that if she agreed on the spot, she wouldn't be able to sleep with him anymore without it being cheating. So she got up, left without an explanation, went to his place, and they had sex for a few hours to get it out of her system. Afterwards, she drove straight to my place to officially start our relationship. She says this wasn't cheating because technically speaking, we weren't exclusive yet. She also said she never felt guilty about it but didn't say anything until now because she didn't want to ruin the mythology I'd built around our relationship origin story. A story that I love bringing up whenever people ask us how we met. I honestly feel completely blindsided, even if this wasn't cheating in the strictest technical sense. It feels like a massive betrayal. It was the fact that she effectively scheduled one last hookup before agreeing to be with me. It makes the beginning of our relationship feel tainted, and it makes me question how she views commitment and honesty. I gotta be honest, I always feel like super old when people start talking about, exclusivity before dating. I'm not judging it, but it does make me feel old. But for me in this, absolutely, I wouldn't be doing it either. People can, scream all they like, technically not cheating and all this sort of stuff. But this would feel like a huge betrayal to me. You're stood there, assuming, pouring your heart out about, you want this exclusivity, thinking that, you have this meaningful relationship moment that you're going to spend, hopefully the future together. Meanwhile, she's thinking, wait, hold on a sec, just need to go and do something really quickly, and goes off and shags another guy. Fuck that. Then suddenly she comes back hours later, after just having a wild time, I assume, in the rain, acting like she's been soul-searching this entire time, meditating. As I said, F this. That would permanently change how I viewed that person and, the entire foundation of your relationship, because it didn't start how you thought it was, and she allowed you to think that way at the same time. A commenter says, oof, at first I thought it was a poor timing on your part, like you guys weren't exclusive. She was just seeing other people and you just unknowingly asked her to go exclusive after she had sex with someone else. And I usually err on the side of, well, you weren't exclusive, so you shouldn't be too hung up on it. But she left, went to go have sex with him one last time. Cheating or not, that's kind of fucked up. A guy asked her to be exclusive, whom she wanted to be exclusive with apparently, and her first thought was, let me go fuck that other guy one more time. That paints a horrible picture of her if you ask me. On top of that, she doesn't find what she did weird at all. Like she'd be perfectly fine if you had fucked someone else in that time she went off to go fuck someone else. I'd be tempted to ask her to see her reaction. I don't blame you for this knowledge changing how you see her. I think I'd be in the same spot as you. A commenter says, after you proposed exclusivity, her first thoughts were about someone else. That alone is a painful revelation. Then she took off to act on those thoughts by being intimate with him. I understand why you'd feel hurt. Sucks, man. Sorry. Commenter said, sorry, but my jaw dropped. I don't think I could hear that and continue the relationship. I don't really care about the technically not cheating part. Think about if you wanted to know immediately if she was a yes or no to being exclusive. Either she would have said no because she really wanted that guy's dick. She effectively did this though by walking away, or she would have said yes and continued thinking about that guy's dick. She was allowed to walk away and come back without you understanding what happened in between. The whole time thinking she was deliberating her feelings for you when she was actually fucking this guy. A commenter says, personally I think that's pretty gross and I'd want to immediately break up. She wanted to get in one last bang with a dude before the exclusive stuff. She should have told you that before you agreed to be exclusive. Instead she lied to you and went to bang a dude while you thought she was reflecting. I would instantly break up with her. A commenter says, how sure are you that this is the full story? Could her plan A have been the other person? Is it possible that she went to see him, had sex, asked him if he wanted to be exclusive? He said no, so she came back to you. Opie replies saying, I legitimately hadn't even thought of this. Another commenter says, nah, I'd leave. It'd be one thing if she slept with someone and it just happened that you'd ask her to be exclusive right after that. But you asked her. She gave you a bullshit excuse and left to fuck him because technically she wasn't exclusive yet. That's crazy. Do you really want to spend your time with someone who would use those technicalities to disrespect boundaries? Well, sorry babe, but you didn't tell me I couldn't send nudes to my boss, so technically I didn't do anything wrong. Also, I just know she would cheat on a bachelorette party if you ever got engaged, and she would use the exact same excuse. To get out of my system. Just bail. She ain't the one. So, OP does come in with an update and says, I wasn't planning to come back to this. I posted the original mostly because I was going in circles in my own head and couldn't find a single thread on here that exactly matched what I was dealing with. But when I logged back in, I was surprised to see how many people saw the post, and honestly the DMs alone were enough to make me type this out. Also found out that the post got picked up on other sites, which is a weird feeling. Typing this out on phone, if formatting is weird, I'll fix later. We broke up. A little over a month after the post, I ended it. For a while, it felt like a mistake. Not a I miss her way, more like a constant worry if I just let some insecure macho part of my brain torch a 2-year relationship over something that was actually acceptable. She wasn't a bad girlfriend in many ways. The relationship wasn't bad. That made it harder for me, to be honest. I've got experience in dumping solidly bad girlfriends. What actually happened in that month was a cycle. We'd argue about the hookup, eventually get somewhere that felt like real understanding, and then some random thing would surface it again, and we'd be back at zero. The back and forth quickly got annoying and toxic. But that's not what ended it. Something a few commenters mentioned in the original thread stuck with me. A specific detail I had touched on but hadn't really thought through. I did eventually bring it up to her directly, and she answered honestly, which I'll give her credit for. Before they had sex, she had asked him whether he saw any future between them. Not as a condition to sleeping with him apparently, but just probed to double check if he was up for that. He said no, and that he was just looking for casual sex. She slept with him anyway, drove to my apartment later that night and told me she wanted to be with me. I sat with that for a long time. On paper, it changes nothing about the timeline everyone discussed in the last post. She still came back, she still chose to be with me afterwards, but something about the sequence of it just hollowed me out. She went to him first to get a no before choosing me, not to mention the whole idea of me sitting at my apartment when this all went down. Although on that point, just to be clear, I'm not a little nice guy and him some sexed up alpha male like some of you guys in the DMs were describing. I'm perfectly confident, having honestly gotten too much info from my ex when we talked, that this was simply just another dude in the lineup that she wanted more than me. But all this resulted in me feeling less like a guy she had wanted and desired, and started me feeling like a second place trophy. That's probably the most honest way I can put it. For what it's worth, I don't think she's a bad human being. I really don't. But we clearly had completely different wiring around what commitment means and when it starts mattering. She didn't think what she did was a big deal, and also seemed to undervalue the emotional value of sex in general in the post-relationship analysis I've been thinking over. Breakup itself was painful. She took it hard initially but seems to be doing fine now. Seemingly better than me from what I've heard from a mutual. I've been pretty numb these last few months. Not in a worrying way to be clear, just going through the motions, and it's getting better every day. I've had bad breakups before, and I know what the other side of one looks like, so I'm not too concerned. A few people from the original post left some genuinely kind comments, and I wanted to thank you for that. I think the thing I keep coming back to is pretty simple. I just want to be someone's first choice. Hopefully, that's out there somewhere. The top commenter said to OP, "Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be someone's first choice. No one wants to be picked second. You deserve better. Glad you're pursuing it." A commenter says, "That's tough, but you absolutely made the right decision. I'd feel sick at the thought of that, particularly what would have happened if he hadn't rejected her." OP says, "You worded what I was trying to say in my post even better than I did. Like, if he did say yes, would there have been any effort to ping me for another check-in? When we argued this, she tried to tell me that if he had said yes, she would have had to really think it over and probably would have chosen me. I came to realize that was total bullshit. I don't get why is she like, it almost sounds so casual, her telling him this, I'd have had to really think it over if he was going to choose me, but, I picked you in the end. I mean, how is she expecting this conversation to go? Glad OP is out of that because that is bullshit. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from the-mightyoak, who says, "Am I overreacting for kicking new friends out of my game night in a storm? I, 26 female, ended up kicking new friends, 22 female, plus her boyfriend, out of my house during game night because they snuck into my bedroom to have a quickie. Now everyone is upset with me. Me and my friend group take turns hosting a game night. We try to do it monthly. This month was my turn to host. I live in an apartment complex with street parking, only that gets filled up fast. Whenever people are coming to visit but can't find parking, there's a playground nearby, a 5 to 10 minute walk with a large parking lot that people go to. This will be important later. I recently met a new friend, I call her Gabrielle, at the bar through friends who've been coming to game night for months. They met her a few weeks prior. For context, game night is about connection. We do not party in the traditional sense at game night, it's just card games and catching up really. We have 5 to 15 people depending on the night. We have cats we rescued recently who get really scared of new people, so we put them in the bedroom and close the door. New friend has been really nice and sweet in the up to 5 times I've hung out with her. That's context, here's what happened. I extended an invite to only her for game night, and she brought her boyfriend, I call him Joe, who I've never met. It was immediately annoying, throwing shoes hard on the floor when I mentioned we have an elderly downstairs neighbors, talking over Gabrielle and I, more than I don't even care to type right now. But I decided not to make a scene and just give him a chance. Partway through playing Uno, Gabrielle gets up and says she's going to use the bathroom. About 5 minutes later, during my turn, so I barely noticed, Joe gets up and goes down the hallway. I assume he knows something about her that I don't, and maybe he needs to check on her. So I go back to playing. Maybe 10 minutes, I'm not sure how long it was later, someone goes, "Where did Gabrielle and Joe go?" They still haven't joined us again, so someone goes to check on the patio, and I go to check the bathroom. Bathroom light is on, I knock on the door and don't get an answer. And I hear something fall in my bedroom. I assume it's the cats just being arseholes and knocking shit over for fun, so I go in to check on them and pick up whatever they knocked over. And what I see when I open the door is Joe's whole cheeks and Gabrielle in my bed. Of course they're scrambling and I close the door fast as fuck and then realize what the fuck is happening, and I open the door again and tell them to get dressed and leave. I have a little savings jar, a firearm, and my cats and shit in my room, so I stayed in there and looked away while they got dressed. There wasn't any crash out or yelling or anything, but people could tell there was something happening, just not what. I was helping them get their purse and shoes and making sure they left when Gabrielle started saying how it's storming out and they have to walk to their car at the playground, and she was sorry, they were just a little drunk and didn't realize it would be an issue. But I was really upset and just held the door open for them to leave and said get home safe. It was a little awkward getting back into the game night, but eventually we went back to normal and had a nice night. I didn't tell anyone what happened because I didn't want to ruin the night. Now, I don't know what she told the group, but I have texts from multiple people telling me I was being dramatic and hurtful and I shouldn't have kicked them out over something so small. So am I overreacting? Is this common? And I've just happened to never encounter it. It just felt gross and like my privacy was intruded on. Edit. I'm texting my friends back right now and telling them what happened. I think you all are right, and I should have made a scene or at least not try to hide it to make them feel better. And that's absolutely it. Clearly the comments are saying to OP, tell your friends what happened, and that is what you need to be doing. The amount of disrespect here, going into your host's bedroom where their pets are as well and start having sex in their bed. Oh, it just, what the fuck? And clearly the people who saying it's just something small, they've been told an absolute bullshit side of the story. So again, yes, OP needs to tell them exactly what happened because that is just wild. But a commenter says, did you tell the other friends what they were doing? If not, do so and tell them to move on. If you did and they act this way, might be time for new friends who respect you more. Commenter says, not overreacting, but I will never understand the concept of saving face for the sake of saving the night and going back to normal. Everyone at that party should have understood what took place for you to kick out your guests. Never give others an opportunity to spin their own version. Commenter says, oh hell nah, not overreacting, that's disgusting, they had sex in your bed. That's never okay, never. Anyone saying otherwise has something unhinged in their brain. Tell everyone they decided to fuck in your bed. Don't cover up for assholes doing bad shit. One more commenter who says, not overreacting. First, she should have asked if she could bring another person into your home, extending your invite, which was to her. So she was disrespectful to you out of the gate. Second, he was already a jerk in his earlier behavior. But then to do what they did in your bed is next level selfish and disrespectful. All I can think of is these friends texting you have a different understanding of what happened. Also, I wouldn't have given them grace of looking away while they got dressed. Let them scramble. They want to be all risky. This is what can happen. Opie comes in with a small update saying she told my friends I went into the bathroom while she was still using it and kicked them out because I didn't like that Joe was here. No mention of going into my bedroom. No mention of the quickie. Just that I was being so mean and kicking them out in a storm because I felt like it. I sent the group chat this thread. 3 of them are coming over after work to smoke and talk about it. Ooh, that's going to be a fun chat. But what do you guys make of this situation? Wild. Let us know your thoughts and let's move on to another story. Our next story is titled, Am I the Arsehole If I Don't Invite One of My Best Friends to My Bachelorette Night? I, 28 female, and getting married soon and planning a night out with my 4 closest friends, my chosen bride squad since college. Think dancing, drinks, and one last wild night before Shadi, wedding, season swallows me whole. Here's the issue. One of these friends, let's call her Maya, got married a year ago, and ever since then has basically disappeared from our lives. Her husband is extremely controlling. She doesn't drink, which is totally fine, but beyond that, he doesn't allow her to go out at night at all. As in, she once skipped a 7 PM dinner because he said no. The rest of us, including another married friend, are very independent and wouldn't tolerate that kind of control. So it's been frustrating to watch her fade into this new version of herself. She hardly meets us anymore, and whenever we plan something, there's always a let me ask him vibe. Now, for the Bachelorette. I really wanted all my girls there. It would have meant something to me. We planned a club night, which I want, and Maya immediately said she can't come because her husband wouldn't approve. Fine. Disappointing, but okay. But then she suggested we scrap the whole plan and just do a brunch instead, so it's easier for her. I'm sorry, but I'm not rearranging my bachelorette to suit the comfort zone of a man I don't even like. We wouldn't force her to drink or dance or do anything she's uncomfortable with. We just wanted her there. But if she can't come, that's on her, right? So would I be the arsehole if I don't invite her at all at this point? A commenter says to OP, nope. Why didn't you have a brunch as a bridal shower and the club scene as your bachelorette though? Just tell Maya you'd like her to come, but if she can't, then too bad. OP said, yeah, I thought of doing something like that, but the issue is Maya doesn't want to be left out. She feels that it's unfair of us to have a party without her since we're best friends. Commenter says, I'm sorry to say this, but she sounds nothing like a friend and completely like an daily soap nanand, which apparently refers to evil sister-in-law trope in telenovelas, typically jealous, spoiled, and cooking up schemes. The commenter continues, you guys must really love her to continue to hold on to her, because most people would drop such a person like a hot plate. Opie says, I know. She wasn't like this before. We've been best friends for over 15 years, so I don't want to drop her, but she's changed a lot since marriage. Another commenter says most people don't opt for divorce in India, and most men who are controlling like that will never change, so she's probably made her peace with that life. I was once controlled like that to an extreme level by an ex during college, and I struggled to leave due to emotional manipulation, and also due to the fact that he would chase me around until I agreed to patch up again. I was also having vitamin deficiencies at that time and would constantly fall asleep during class. My classmates/friends, more like acquaintances though, all dropped me since they got fed up with my lack of presence. I didn't hold it against them either. I understood. Since you have a 15-year friendship, I understand not wanting to drop her, but it'd be best for her to get some similar conservative bahu type of friends her age, which refers to the trope of doormat daughter-in-laws in telenovelas who she can socialize with during the daytime and bitch about their in-laws together. Being friends with you four would just make her more resentful that she doesn't have similar freedom, and that negativity will seep into your lives as well as whenever you make plans. You can have the brunch for now along with the club night, and just make it simple and clear that you won't cancel it for her. Don't get into arguments and negotiations, but in future, it'd be better if you guys met and don't inform her at all, unless the timings will be possible for her. That kind of negativity can be draining. Opie says that's the issue though. She's also upset that we meet and go out without her in general. We used to invite her most of the time, but it's always impossible for her. She's only available between 3 and 6 p.m. on the days when she is available, and that timing does not work for the rest of us. We have jobs. I don't understand her logic that we should all meet or else not meet at all. Commenter says, Opie and friends are past the age to need paternal permission for small plans. That is one of the good things about growing up. It shouldn't be Opie's responsibility that instead of adulting, her friend just found a new weird daddy. The problem is the friend trying to make it everyone else's problem. She needs to grow up and either show up or opt out. Opie says, can't call him a new sugar daddy when he doesn't even let us spend any money. Guy's the biggest miser I know. Commenter says, invite her. If she chooses not to come, it's her choice. At least you wouldn't have any regrets of deliberately excluding her. I do feel sorry for her though. She reminds me of my father's friend who basically did this, and after she had a kid, made her quit her job, forced her to become a housewife. She has basically no support system now, losing all her friends and him barring her from meeting her parents. He would not be the arsehole either way. It's your friend's call to blame you or her husband. Opie says she's definitely going to blame me because her husband can never be wrong, but can't help it now. Opie edits the post and says thank you all for your comments. Some of your supportive comments really help me deal with my anxiety. A lot of people are suggesting doing both a club night and a brunch so Maya can be included. Just to clarify, I have no issue doing brunch with her. I'm open to seeing her separately anytime, and I've tried to keep including her ever since she got married. But the problem isn't that I'm refusing to include her. It's that she didn't suggest doing both. She's very clearly asking us to cancel the night out altogether and only do a brunch because her husband and in-laws don't approve of her going out at night. That's what I'm frustrated about. This is my bachelorette, and I don't want to reshape the whole thing around someone else's restrictions. And just for context, ever since she got married, Maya hasn't been trying to accommodate us at all. She doesn't work and is generally free during the day, but I work long hours and finish after 8. Still, whenever we try to plan something, she always insists on meeting on a weekday before 6 and then complains that we don't make time for her. If we suggest dinner, she usually cancelled. She doesn't join weekend brunches because her husband is home and he doesn't let her do dinners unless he's invited too. The last 2 times I met her, I had to leave work early and plan everything around her. And even after all of that, she's not willing to be flexible for my bachelorette. That's where the frustration is coming from. A week later, Opie updates the post and says hi again, and thank you so much for all your thoughtful comments on my original post. I wanted to share a final update now that things have played out more. After I told Myra about the bachelorette plans, she completely ghosted me. No replies to messages, no calls, nothing. I let it go, but one of my bridesmaids, Nina, ended up calling her to ask if she was coming or not because we needed to finalize bookings. That's when Maya said she felt we were being unreasonable. She told Nina that her husband strongly feels we should just do brunch instead of a night out, and that hanging out until 6 p.m. is more than enough. She said we weren't being understanding about her situation with her in-laws and that we should change the plan to accommodate that. Now, here's the important part. Nina told her that we can definitely do a brunch too, and I'd be more than happy to. No one is excluding her. But she also said it'd be really nice if Maya could make it for the club night too, since it's my bachelorette and that's the plan I've chosen. That's when Maya started crying and said we were being unfair. She told Nina that we weren't understanding of her situation and that she doesn't want us to have a night celebration at all. She said if she can't be a part of the night, then we shouldn't have it. And then she said the only way she might be able to come to the club night is if her husband is invited too. Yes, she actually said that to my bachelorette on a girls' night at a club. At this point, I honestly don't know what to say anymore. I've tried so hard to include her in everything. A few weeks ago, I reached out to her to get her opinion on wedding dresses and planning details. She didn't even make the time to meet me or check in. She's been distant for months and I've been the one trying to keep her involved. But now it feels like she's just not stepping back from the friendship. She's trying to control what I do as well. I'm sad and disappointed. I miss the friend she used to be, but I'm also tired. There's a lot going on in my life right now, and I don't have the energy to keep making space for someone who doesn't show up for me and expects everyone else to revolve around her husband's preferences. So I've decided I'm not reaching out to her again. Once we finalize the club night, I'll send her the invite out of courtesy. If she wants to come, great. If not, that's fine too. But I'm done bending, done chasing, and done feeling guilty for wanting a celebration that's actually about me. The commenter says some relations come with an expiry date. Your relationship with her is one of them. It was good till it lasted, but it's time to bid goodbye. Don't even rethink. It's your wedding and the events around it. Please do it your way. Congratulations on the wedding. Commenter says, why can't her husband be accommodating? Why is she asking 3 women completely unrelated to him to agree to his commands and be allowed to the bachelorette party? Why does he want to ruin a girls' night? The audacity some men have. Your friend really needs to stand up to her husband. Imagine not letting your wife spend time with her own friends. Things will only be worse if she lets him treat her like that. Opie says, I know, right? I honestly hate that guy. And she doesn't stand up to him at all. Instead, we'll keep fighting with us for him, so there's no point anymore. For her, whatever he says now is like the ultimate truth. It's actually sickening. She even said not too long ago she cannot disobey her husband for religious reasons. She was never even religious before marriage. Since then, I try not to give her any advice because it'd always be some weird shit like this. I kind of wonder, because she was invited, she will show up with the husband anyway, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good